Can a man survive on 1,500 calories a day? Let's find out. So let's take into account the average calorie burn for a person. Now what I mean by that is we call it a BMR, basic metabolic rate, which is how much your body burns calories at rest. So let's say, for example, that you are an average male or female, right? And again, it depends on how many calories burn, but as an average for a male, the amount of calories that they burn at rest, as in not doing anything from sleeping to just being awake and not moving or doing anything, it's approximately 1,800 to 2,000. That's on a daily basis in a 24-hour period. Now for a female, that's different. It's slightly less. So for a female, it's usually 1,400 to 1,600. Usually males have more testosterone and muscle mass, therefore they burn more calories at rest. Now with this information, we can assume that for the average person who does very, very little during the day, who sits down at work, who drives to work, who gets in from work and sits on the sofa for 5 hours and watches TV before they go to bed, and repeats this usually with zero exercise, doesn't even walk to the shop, we can then assume that whether they be male or female, their calorie burn will be around about this. Meaning that if they do basically nothing, no form of exercise, they don't walk, they do very little but apart from sit down, then they can be almost in a place where approximately, if they're male, they'll be burning 1,800 to 2,000 calories. Now, if they're female, they'll be burning 1,400 to 1,600 calories. However, there's a reason why they say the average, let's go average calories, average daily calories, yeah? So the average daily calories, as we may already know or may not, for a male, they're going to be more because a male tends to burn more, having more muscle mass than testosterone, usually have a higher metabolic rate. For a male, it's 2,500 calories. This is an average for an average man, right? Now again, I know we're all different. Some of us need to lose a lot of weight, and I'm going to tell you how to do that as this video progresses. For a female, it's approximately 2,000. Now, why do they say those numbers if we are burning basically 1,800 to 2,000? That's giving us extra calories in the day. Well, of course they're going to say that, because that is healthy to have calories to do things like move and get shit done. So obviously that's giving you an extra 500 to 700 calories to be able to expend as energy, which is kind of good thought process, obviously, throughout the day. If you're a female, it's giving you the same, an extra 500 to 700 calories. Now, this obviously, and this is just basically what you burn at rest. This is what they say you should have, which is a good number, to be fair, for most people. But this is not designed for you to lose weight. It's more or less designed for you to maintain weight. But also, you've got to consider, this is why a lot of people struggle to lose weight, because they're not necessarily in a weight gaining phase, although you might be, you're just in a weight maintenance phase, because you operate on around this, if not slightly more calories. Now, this calorie allowance will obviously increase if your activity increases, or could slightly decrease if your activity decreases. Now, when it comes to weight loss, it's all about calories. And we're hearing this buzzword calories now more than ever. And that's a good thing, because we need to be consciously aware of how many calories are going in, because the only way we lose this weight is by eating less in here and moving more up here. Moving the body, eating less. Eat less, move more. That's how we lose weight. If you want to gain weight, you eat more, maybe move less. It depends on the person, although that's not the best advice. But most people need to get off their fucking arses more and move. So let's move on. So the first question in this video was, can a man survive on 1,500 calories? The answer is yes, but can a man thrive on 1,500 calories? Absolutely not. Or I'd be very surprised to see a man that is thriving on only 1,500 calories. Now, obviously, given the data that we've just talked about, the average man burns at rest 1,600 to 1,800 calories, maybe up to 2,000 calories at rest. That's without doing any work. So imagine if you're adding exercise, walking the dog, doing physical things with your hands, having an active lifestyle. Imagine adding that to that and trying to sustain a calorie diet of 1,500. You're gonna crash. And eventually what you're gonna do, you're gonna unconsciously, you're gonna gorge. You're gonna have your blowout, and then you're not gonna know how many calories you're eating, and you might eat 4,000, 5,000 calories in one meal and not even realize you've done it. See, weight loss is hard, but it is very simple. And the simplicity is this. In order to lose 1 pound, this is a direct replica of 1 pound of fat. This is what it looks like. Now, if you'd seen a pound of muscle, it would look differently. It would look completely different. It would be elongated fibers. it would have a different color, a different texture. It wouldn't look like this. In fact, this takes up more space, even though it's the same weight as a pound of muscle. This is why it's important to try and reduce this and increase the amount of muscle that you have. Talking about muscle increases a video for another day. To keep this one simple, we're talking about calories now. I worked out my BMR, my basic metabolic rate, with the formula that's on the screen below right now. Now, this is a little bit complicated. I actually had to look this up because it's been many years since I've looked into this formula. It's changed a few times over the years. But what I found out that my basic metabolic rate was 1,798, which that means basically if I sat up out of bed and just sat in the same position all day and did basically nothing and then went to sleep again, in that 24-hour period, I would have burned approximately 1,800 calories. Now, that's not taking into account any other activity I do. I expend energy, I use calories. So it would be therefore ridiculous for me to go on an 1,800 calorie a day diet. If I went on a 1,500 calorie a day diet, I would severely lose weight, but I would feel fucking miserable. And this is most people's problems with diets, is they restrict their calories far too much, rather than finding a balance that not only helps them feel good, but can help them lose weight as well. Now, if I revert back to this example of the pound of fat, in order to lose one of these, this amount of fat, this is a pound, right? 1 pound in weight. In order to lose a pound in weight of ideally fat, because that's what I want to be losing. Yes, we can lose water weight. Yes, we can lose muscle mass, but we want to be ideally losing fat. In order to do that, we must be in a deficit of 3,500 calories. Now, that's quite a big number if we consider what I've just said is 1,500 calories, an amount that would be ridiculous to live on. You could do it for a short while, but eventually you'll crash. But the average man needs to be in a 2,500 calorie daily intake in order to more or less maintain what he's got and operate effectively, right? Now, a 3,500 deficit, the best way to do this is simply reduce the amount of calories you are eating by 500 every day. Over the course of a week, that's a 3,500 calorie deficit. Obviously 500 times 7 is 3,500 calories, which equals one of these. Now, there's a little bit technicality in it when it comes to numbers and things like that, but we need to try and wrap our head around this. I'm trying to make it as simple as I can while still explaining a little bit of the complexities behind it. But things like the BMR calculation, you don't really need to know. Basically, what the best way to do this is like I said in the previous video that you'll see on the screen here, where I talk about calculating your calories on calculator.net and how you can actually eat more or less bread, crisps, chocolate and sweets every day and still lose weight. I explain it better in that video, so go over and check that one out. In terms of can a person survive on 1,500 calories, you can survive, but you'll never thrive. Now, for women, this is a different ball game because, again, like was said just with the data previously, women's average 1,400 to 1,600 calories. So a woman on 1,500 calories a day can survive all right. But the thing is, will she thrive? Again, it's going to depend on how much activity she's doing. If she's a very active woman and she goes to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, she's going to need more calories. Yes, you can lose weight on 1,400 calories a day, but can you thrive on that? It's a matter of finding the right balance for you, given your activity levels, given your BMR and everything else in between. The video that I just mentioned before will be the best to explain that. Given this data, we can see that 1,500 calories a day for a gentleman is not sustainable. We need to start looking for upping those calories to probably at least 2,000, 2,200 as a bare minimum for a man, bare minimum, but also improving the quality of the foods that go in. Because we can eat 2,000 calories of crap, but we're gonna feel rubbish. We're gonna be more tired. We're gonna be lacking energy. We're gonna be lacking clarity and focus. We need to start increasing the single ingredient foods. And actually, when you start eating more chicken and broccoli and rice and fish and beef and, you know, all kinds of fruits and vegetables and maybe some nuts in sparse quantities, of course, because they're high calorie, we start to notice how hard it is to get up to those numbers, 2,000, 2,200, 500 calories, whatever. And we notice when we eat things like pizza and chips and fried foods and crisps and chocolate that it's very easy to get up those calories, which is why the whole weight loss thing is very difficult. However, it's pretty simple. I hope this has been informative. I hope this has been useful. If it has, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a share below, and I'll see you on the next one, regardless of where you're watching this, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, any of my socials. I will see you soon on the next one. Take care. If you'd like to learn how to create outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control, my second book, Supercharged, the modern day guide to doing exactly that, is out now.